Brought to you by ExpressCare Health and Skin Center. Get in, get out, get better.
Welcome back to Healthy Living. During the holidays, all families are under stress to one degree or another. While stress is what makes families grow, parents mature, and children blossom, at what point does family stress become too much? Joining me now with more on tonight's topic, family stress during the holidays, is ExpressCare's Dr. Jitka Lom, who is ready to take some of our viewers' questions. Now, our first viewer is asking, is there any way to deal with toxic relatives?
You know, we all have them. There are those people that really suck the life out of you. So, and it's hard to love them when they're prickly. They poke you as soon as you hug them. So I think that there's sort of three things you can do. One is to avoid them entirely. And this is a self-care measure. You know, you're probably not going to change them, and especially over the holidays, they're probably not going to turn into Mr. and Mrs. Wonderful right then. So avoiding them is a self-care measure that is helpful. The second thing you can do is defer the meeting. Say, okay, we'll meet again after the holidays or later, or make it shorter, the time that you spend with them, because you know you don't feel good afterwards. You can still do something nice for them. You can send them something, you can bake them something, you can give them something, but you don't have to spend the time with them. And the third thing you can do, which is very, very powerful but takes a little bit more work and effort, is to forgive them. Because this is what will set you free from the bad feelings that you have in yourself. And there's a very special Hawaiian prayer, you may know it. It's called Ho'oponopono. And it's 4 things that you can say while you're thinking about the person that bothers you the most. The first thing, and this may seem backwards, is to say, I'm sorry. The second thing is to say, please forgive me. The third thing is to say, I love you. And the fourth thing to say is, I thank you. Because these are the 4 things that people usually will say on their deathbed to the person that was their enemy, because at that moment all is forgiven. So you can do that way in advance and set yourself free. Remember them. It's easy. You repeat it over and over, even if you don't mean it. Just think of the person and say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, and thank you. And if you do that a few times, I'm pretty sure you're going to feel better.
Okay, now just an extension of that question. Now here on Guam, a lot of households have extended family living with them.
Yes.
Now what if that toxic relative lives in the same household?
That is a tough one. How can you contain the toxic relative? You can try killing them with kindness if you haven't already. And you may also actually just need to remove yourself if you can't, because you're really probably going to be very unsuccessful in modifying their behavior.
All right. Now our next viewer is asking, I recently got a divorce and I'm worried that it will be highlighted during a family gathering on Christmas. Is there any way to avoid this?
Mm-hmm. That is a really difficult and challenging situation. I think the key there is to decide what your outcome is. Your outcome there is not necessarily one big happy family or you know, a perfect Christmas. Your chance there is to just basically get through it the best that you can. It's a really difficult thing to go through. There's going to be a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions based on your memories and your perception of how things were and how they should be. So if you can get your family to support you through it, avoid the situations that are going to be most painful and difficult for you, and just know that this too shall pass.
All right, now another extension to that question. Here on Guam, I've actually witnessed where although they're separated or divorced, they still come to the family gatherings for the children's sake. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's awkward, but is that advisable to you? You
know, I think if everybody can rise to that level, that is marvelous and beautiful. And I think if the children can see that the adults are at least making an effort, that will help them in the future. What you want to choose is peace. You want to avoid difficult, conflicted situations, drama, all of that, because that just does not make anything better.
Okay. Now our next viewer is asking, how do these kinds of conflicts affect the health of children?
They really do. You know, when children are having anxiety about, let's say in that situation, the divorce, or, you know, is whoever in the family going to freak out this year? Makes Christmas very, very stressful for them and takes away from their enjoyment of the holiday. So if you can, please try to remember your children. Make sure that they are able to get the rest that they need. They have the safety and the security that a family is supposed to provide. That is the main thing that is our obligation to provide for our children, is safety, security, and comfort.
All right. Now, the next viewer is asking, is it true that when defenses are lowered, such as getting the flu, bad eating habits, or a lack of sleep, it can make it harder to cope with family during the holidays?
That's definitely true, and another factor would be alcohol. You know, people kind of let loose a little bit. Their defenses are way down and they're disinhibited, and they may say things they really don't mean. And you want to avoid that because you'll be paying the price for that down the road in January.
Is there anything that can be done to kind of make it easier to cope if they are sick or feeling?
It works both ways. Like, the sickness will make you less able to cope, and having all this stress makes you actually physically sick. We see it all the time in the clinic this time of year, people coming in with colds and all kinds of symptoms because of the stress that they're under. So remembering to take care of yourself. I think that we can take advice from the airlines on this one. During the holiday season, I think you want to fasten your emotional seatbelt. Know that it's going to be a little bit of a turbulent ride ahead. And always remember what they tell you is to put on your own oxygen mask first before you're trying to help someone else. So make sure that you take care of yourself, you get your rest, you eat properly, you don't overwhelm yourself with too many obligations, and you remember the outcome, which is to get through this season as best you can so you can start the new year on a healthy and happy foot.
All right, now our last viewer, he's asking one of the bigger picture questions. How can I keep my family low stress during the holiday season?
Well, I think, again, expectations are everything. Try not to do too much and make it too much of a big deal. Enjoy it. Set reasonable expectations, especially for your spending, so that you're not saddled with big debt in the new year. And try to have some fun. You know, try to be grateful for this opportunity to share with your loved ones. Have a little bit of extra time with your family, and that's all you really need.
I've heard that physical activity helps reduce stress, regardless if it's the holiday season or the season. So would you advise those who are, feeling this, holiday stress to keep?
Yeah. This is a great time to put your walking program into place, because it's really hard to feel, how we ruminate, it's really hard to do that when you're walking. So take this opportunity to kickstart your New Year's resolution. Start the 30-minute walk today, right after this show. Get out there, put on your running shoes, take a 30-minute walk and some deep breaths, and you'll find a lot of your stress melts away.
All right, thank you so much,
You're
Doc.
welcome.
All right. Now, this was quite an